Assetto Corsa shouldn't still be doing this. It should feel old by now. Like one of those sims you go back to for a few minutes, mostly because it mattered back then. But then you load the right car on the right road with the right setup, and it still feels weirdly alive. Not perfect or clean, but somehow it gives you more room to drive the way you actually want to. And that's why Assetto Corsa still embarrasses newer sims. It doesn't really win like a normal game anymore. The menus aren't better, the base game definitely shows its age, and if you've ever spent half your night fixing mods or force feedback, you already know this thing could be a mess. But that mess is also why it's still here. Assetto Corsa became more than a racing game. It became this flexible driving platform where grip runs, touge drifting, tandem chasing, car mods, force feedback, different camera tools, and community-built roads all stacked together. A lot of newer sims feel more finished when you first open them. The UI is cleaner, the graphics are sharper, the cars might be more official, the sound might be better, the online structure might make more sense. You can tell the whole thing was built to feel like a modern product. And I'm not saying that stuff doesn't matter, because it does. But after a while, you start noticing the trade-offs. A newer sim might give you a polished version of one specific idea. Assetto Corsa gives you space to choose your own idea. Freedom is kind of the point, and that's the difference. You want to run a clean grip session on track? It lets you do that. You want to throw a car through a mountain road? It also lets you do that. You want to chase another driver through a touge section where one lazy correction can ruin the whole run? Somehow it lets that exist inside the sim too. And that freedom is a bigger deal than people admit. Because most sim racers aren't only looking for the newest graphics or the most official car list. A lot of us are just chasing a feeling. A certain kind of road, a certain kind of car, and a certain kind of pressure. Assetto Corsa became a platform, kind of accidentally. The reason Assetto Corsa refuses to die is because it stopped being only the thing Kuno's released. At this point, it's almost like a base layer. Content Manager changed how people use it, and CSP changed how it looks and behaves. Modders changed the car list. Track creators changed the places where we could drive. Drift communities changed what the game was known for. So when people compare Assetto Corsa to newer sims, it gets kind of weird. You're not really comparing one game against another game. You're comparing a modern sim product against years of community obsession. And that obsession is hard to beat. You can still feel why it works even in a normal grip room. And I think that matters because sometimes people talk about Assetto Corsa like it only survived because of drifting, mods, or nostalgia. But on track, it still has that basic connection. You brake, the car loads up, the front starts telling you how much you can take, and you feel when you're asking too much. No sim is perfect, but Assetto Corsa gives you enough information to work with the car instead of just reacting to it. That's where newer doesn't always mean better. Some newer sims feel more advanced, but not always more readable. Then you take the same sim onto a touge road and the whole point changes. Now it's not just braking points and exits, you're trying to place the car before the corner really gives you the time to think. The road gets narrow, the guardrail feels way too close, and every small correction starts to matter more than it would on a wide circuit. You can't just throw angle at the problem and hope it looks good. If you enter too lazy, the car feels dead. If you come in too hot, the road takes away your exit before you can fix it. Touge drifting doesn't feel like circuit racing with walls moved closer. It feels more impatient than that. The road keeps forcing decisions on you, one corner after another, and you're just trying to stay ahead of the car instead of reacting too late. You're reading the road more than the racing line. And when the right car mod and the right road come together, Assetto Corsa can make that feel believable enough that you stop thinking about how old the sim really is. And then Tandem changes it again, because now Assetto Corsa isn't just about controlling your own car. Now you're reading another driver. You're watching their angle, their speed, their line, their little corrections, and you're trying to stay close without getting greedy. You can't just drive your perfect line anymore because their mistakes becomes your problem. That's a completely different kind of pressure. The same base sim can become a grip driving sim, a solo drift sim, and then suddenly it becomes this chase environment where rhythm matters more than raw speed. That's not something every newer sim gives you easily. I think a lot of newer sims are solving problems that matter. How do we make the racing cleaner? How do we make the visuals better? How do we make the cars more official? How do we make the experience easier to understand? And those are good questions, but Assetto Corsa accidentally answered a different question. Can I drive the thing I want to drive in the place I want to drive it, with the feeling I'm chasing? That's where it's still kind of ridiculous. A clean grip run, a touge drift run, and a tandem chase can all live inside one sim. That's why it still feels bigger than its age. Now, the funny thing is, a lot of what makes Assetto Corsa powerful also makes it annoying. You can absolutely ruin this game with bad mods. You can install a car that looks amazing and drives like a shopping cart with 900 horsepower. You can spend more time fixing settings than actually driving. So yeah, Assetto Corsa isn't clean, but it's personal, and that's a huge difference. A newer sim might protect you from bad content by keeping everything controlled, but it also protects you from the weird stuff that makes Assetto Corsa special. That's why the word embarrassing fits. Even if it sounds harsh, it's not embarrassing because every new sim is bad. That would be too easy, and honestly, not true. It's embarrassing because a sim from 2014 shouldn't still be this hard to replace. Newer sims should have made Assetto Corsa feel like an old memory by now. Something important and something people remember fondly of, but clearly outdated. Instead, people are still building cars for it, and tracks as well, running servers, drifting, racing, chasing, filming, and finding new ways to make it feel alive. So when people ask why the OG Assetto Corsa still hasn't been replaced, I don't think the answer is just nostalgia. Nostalgia helps, sure, but nostalgia alone doesn't keep a sim alive like this. The real reason is that Assetto Corsa became a sandbox for people who care more about the driving experience than the official package around it. It can be ugly, and it can be annoying, and it certainly can be inconsistent. But when it works, it gives you something newer sims still struggle to match: freedom. I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.